And welcome back to another episode of the Grip and Rip It Sports Podcast with your host, Danny Tops. And we got Chris Stockwell back here.
Hey, yo.
And we are presented by Rolling Sevens. And today we have a very special guest. And we really appreciate you coming last minute because we've had a couple cancellations for this episode so far. Skylar Sanders, thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
We appreciate it, man. Skylar and I actually are Facebook friends.
Uh-huh.
And this is our first time actually meeting.
Yeah.
But we have a couple mutual friends.
We have a real modern meeting. Like, this is something that could only happen in the 21st century. You know?
Very seriously. Yeah. Just connected through a Facebook group.
Really. Sports chat. Yeah.
Sports chat, which is shout out to Nick and Justin because they're serious admins that
I think
brought me into this, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think they started it, yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Good peeps.
Yeah, from what I've seen. But we'll see how that goes. So tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all. Did you play any sports growing up?
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
Well, I'm from West Virginia originally. I lived there for my 18 years, and then I went to school in West Virginia at a school called Davis and Elkins. I played 3 sports. I was a baseball, basketball, football player all through school pretty much.
Dope.
Yeah. I was an all-state baseball player in high school, twice actually.
Nice.
And then and football, I was an all-conference player. So, but it's West Virginia, so it's like short, white dudes like myself. So it's like the competition level is lower.
What position did you play?
I always like to take that thing out. I was it depends on what year. Like my senior year, I played linebacker. I was the strong side outside linebacker, and then also the receiver or a wide receiver, flanker to be specific.
In baseball?
Baseball, third base mostly. I switched between pitching, third base, short, second.
So did you try to play at the collegiate level?
I didn't. No. I was big into theater. I did a lot.
So you did theater on top of sports?
Yeah, I have a theater degree.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was running around. I mean, I had football practices where I would go directly from football practice to Grease rehearsal. It was
nice.
It was pretty wild. Yeah. It was. I stayed.
Who'd you play in Grease?
Sonny. In the version. But it was funny because the Danny guy couldn't sing the last final song of that one, which isn't in the movie. But I ended up getting roped into singing it, so I got to I had my big number. Other than that, I was like the goofy guy.
But at least you got the big number.
I got the big number.
That's what gets the ladies, especially if it's the last one,
Well,
you're remembered because it's the last song.
I played 3 sports and did theater, so
So you had no
I got ladies. It was okay. That was why I did theater.
You had a theater background a little bit, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say I had a theater background because if I'm being totally honest, I thought theater was lame when I was in high school. I liked acting growing up, and I did acting, but for some reason I never equated that to theater. I actually didn't get more into the theater side of things until I was in college, and I never did anything in theater or did any, was part of any plays or anything like that. But when I was at UNLV for that very little bit of time, I was in a class with Clarence Gilliard. I don't know if you know the name. He's a famous 80s actor from a lot of different TV shows like Matlock, Walker, Texas Rangers, and Die Hard. And he teaches a class there, great class, one of the best classes I ever took in college. And it's screen acting for a living was the name of it, but he did everything through the lens of theater. Yeah. So we only did famous works of, famous plays in class. So that was a lot of fun. So I got a little bit of theater, background, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Not as much as you.
Kind of how
I got involved because I was like, I was like, oh yeah, I used to watch a lot of movies. I like that. And then all of a sudden they were like, well, we'll give you money to do this in college. And I was like,
so
okay. All right. And I don't have to get up at the ass crack of dawn and work out. That's great.
That's a good thing. Yeah. You can't complain there. So let me ask this question because the shirt that you're wearing, rubs me a little bit the wrong way. What are your teams?
Well, I mean, you can kind of pick anybody in West Virginia because they don't have a professional team. Except you have to be a Mountaineers fan,
right?
Yeah, that's a given.
So you love Noel Devine at the time?
Oh man, my favorite.
Did you ever see his high school highlight tape?
No.
It was the We Ballin' Boys, and
he was sick.
Here's the thing, guys.
He's like a joystick.
If you guys haven't seen Noel Devine's high school highlight tape, you need to click that. You need to put that on. You need to watch that really quick. But tell us more about who was beyond or who was your favorite at West Virginia?
Oh man, Amos Zaraway was my absolute favorite when I was coming up. He was like the Barry Sanders of the Mountaineers. He was just like this quick, shifty dude that was just all over the place. And then he had a decent career, I think.
Did he play for the Raiders?
He did. He played for the Steelers for a while, and then the Raiders.
I remember
think one
him.
other team.
Wow.
And then naturally you've got Marshall in West Virginia as well. So Randy Moss, I'm a huge Randy Moss fan.
Love Randy Moss.
And obviously his best years were with the Raiders, so that was great.
You were probably psyched at the time, right?
Oh my God, it was like a dream come true. It was the same thing with Antonio Brown. I was like, yes, this couldn't be, like, we're getting the top receiving option of all time, and now
How quickly that ship went down, huh?
at least this one didn't even go like a season. It was just like, okay, we're
least
already
it
There was never a
Pouting on
hope
the bench,
there.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
gone before the season
I
started.
think I was on record. If not, I'll go on record now saying that they should. If I was the Raiders, I would have just paid him, dressed him, and benched him all year long. That's what I would have done to Antonio.
It would
Brown.
be understandable for sure.
I
And
don't give a
weren't
fuck,
they
man.
talking about some stipulation in the contract where they could basically void him from getting any other contracts to other teams at the time if they hadn't released him?
That I don't know. If they hadn't released him, yeah, I mean he wouldn't be able to.
They could have blackballed him.
They should have
at some point.
It's fucked up to say, but hey, you know.
So how did you become a Raiders fan?
Yeah, I mean
That's
not
like
just is it-
5,000 miles
Yeah,
away.
It's not 5, but yeah,
It's got to be close to West Virginia and San Francisco.
It's
like,
a way.
like 3,000.
In Oakland?
It's like 3,000 miles. I bet.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna look this
3,200.
shit.
It's
up.
still-
Yeah,
look it up.
I'm guessing 4,200. That's
No,
my
it's,
guess.
it's way under that.
yeah,
below
I was a big Bo Jackson fan. That was like my
that makes sense.
I respected Bo Jackson and think I still to this day think he's the greatest athlete that's ever been placed
Well,
upon
what
earth.
year did he get hurt?
Probably like 91. So I think in 1990 was the year he was an MVP and a Pro Bowler in baseball, or not an MVP, but he was the MVP of the All-Star game. He was a
And the
All-Star
MVP.
player
And
a
then the
Pro Bowler.
MVP in the NFL.
Yeah. Mhm.
That was before I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in 91.
Oh, wow.
So it's, which I'm reaching.
Yeah.
I'm reaching here. But
I was born in
obviously-
85, so
It's like 2,600
Yeah,
miles.
see, I've obviously and Bo Jackson was one of the supreme talents of all time. So that's what drove you to the Raiders.
Yep.
Bo knows.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense to follow probably the most transcendent athlete at the time.
Well, when
yeah.
you're little, that's what you grab onto. Who's on TV? So for you and for me in basketball is MJ and
Yeah. And then Kobe.
Well, because I moved out here and that in '97, and that was literally Kobe's first year out here. So that's when it transitioned into Kobe. For football, that's why for me it was the Cowboys. Like very seriously,
Yeah.
because like that's what you saw on TV. They were winning Super Bowls when my brain was a sponge, you
Yeah.
know. So it's like I kind of just got locked into it that way.
I've hated him ever since I was born.
It's in the blood.
was implanted.
It's in the blood, right?
Yeah, the Packers and Green Bay hate have just always, or I'm sorry, the Packers and Dallas hate have always just been implanted.
No, I feel you on the Dallas stuff. It's
Can't
just
stand him.
And I don't even have a reason to hate him anymore.
You know what's
but it's
fucked
still
up?
just
You know
like,
what's fucked
yeah.
up? Is like I can't even stand him anymore. But here I am.
I know, and I don't even know if we're gonna get in there.
I
but
don't want to.
Since,
I don't even
since-
want to.
Since we got your shameless Cowboys plug, let me get my
Go for
shameless
it.
Bears plug.
Go for it.
What's your least favorite player to ever come out of West Virginia?
Least favorite?
Mountaineers.
Oh, man. That's tough. I root for all of them. But honestly, Geno Smith is the most
Okay. I wasn't gonna go
disappointing.
Geno. I was gonna go Kevin White. That bum.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about him. He was
Yeah, you forgot about him because he
was-
wasn't worth a damn.
Yeah, he was,
Some first round pick you got there.
Yeah, great first round pick.
he was so forgettable that I didn't even think of it. Yeah.
Fucking hurt
So-
every
I'm sorry-
second of
sorry.
every day.
No, but that's fair. But we should leave it there, honestly.
Yeah, no,
If we
shameless
wanna talk-
plug. We
that's
got our
cool.
shameless plug. That's
so
it.
fine.
But you know who a lot of people forget that came from WVU is Mark Bulger.
Yeah, he did.
And he
My-
had a lot of great years with the Rams.
my
Wasn't
favorite.
Tavon Austin there too?
Yep.
Tavon Austin, Stedman Bailey.
Yeah, my favorite was Owen Schmidt.
Oh, Schmidt happens. Yeah, yeah. That he was a
We
mean
built this
bastard.
Schmitty.
So, shall we get into the meat and potatoes?
Yeah, I love meat and potatoes.
You like meat and potatoes?
Yeah,
I heard it's a good dish in
It's one
England.
of my favorite things. I had some for lunch. It's
You
really good.
boil the meat and the potatoes.
I didn't have English, so I just had meat and potatoes. But you know,
Kill off the scurvy.
So some interesting
sounds
moves
like
have
fun.
happened today.
Yeah.
At around, I would say noon, 1 o'clock, it was reported that Marcus Peters was being traded from the Rams to, where the hell did he go?
we
I
forgot about it
remember.
because Jalen Ramsey got traded
Yeah.
right afterwards.
Exactly. I
yeah.
forget where he even
To
went.
the Ravens.
To
and
the
that was
Ravens.
Yeah, to the
That's right.
Ravens.
So Marcus Peters leaves to go to the Ravens, which I, got that update. I thought, oh, okay. I mean, Yeah, Marcus Peters really hasn't been.
They got a linebacker, Kenny Young, and
It was
a fifth-round pick.
a 5th-round pick. And I thought it was a decent trade.
Underwhelming return to me if Marcus Peters is an all-pro corner.
He hasn't been an all-pro since he left KC.
Which he thinks he is.
Yeah, and nobody else does.
Well, here's the thing, though, is Peters, I think, is a good cornerback. And, like, we've seen him get beat a lot this year by some, like, Mike Evans and a couple other big players. But
he's gotten torched this year.
But it's on a specific few plays. Like, if you look at him, he's still grading out. I don't know how big of PFF guys you are, but he's still grading out in, like, the top 10 in PFF, which is – I found that nuts. I was like,
I find that interesting.
I think PFF is a reliable tool that you can look at to gauge, but I also am on the side of, like, it's definitely not the end-all be-all of everything. You know,
let's put it this way.
It's like I'm cool to look at it, but, like...
Well, the trade really didn't make sense to me until the second half.
Exactly, but that made it even worse for me. So at least I kind of understood it if they just wanted to maybe he's a locker room problem. Maybe he's been getting into it with coaches because the defense has been terrible so far this year.
I would say that's a general perception of him.
Right? He's had character issues before, so I thought
And
maybe they're just getting rid of him.
Underwhelming year this year.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So they go out, they get what they can for him, get him off the team, right? So I thought, okay, maybe not the greatest return in the world from Baltimore, but...
Even still, he's got 2 picks in 6 games.
Well, they're the second team now that's traded him for peanuts, basically.
Yeah.
Like, the Chiefs traded him away
So
for
what does that
nothing.
tell you? You know?
That was and he was in a way worse situation media-wise at that point than he is now, I would say, where he was, people were questioning, like, everything. He was like, I don't know, I can't really remember exactly what it was, but...
But just when you think the Rams couldn't get any dumber if you think that the Marcus Peters trade wasn't a good trade for them, which I don't. I thought it was okay. They go and trade away 2 first-round picks.
Well, they wouldn't have traded him if they wouldn't have traded Marcus Peters away if they didn't know that this was happening.
Yes, this is obviously in coordination with each other.
Yeah.
These happened because subsequently.
They happened because of each other happening.
But 2 first-round picks, and then what was it, the 3rd round? There was another pick thrown in there, I believe.
4th rounder.
4th rounder?
Yeah.
For Jalen Ramsey. The Jaguars absolutely took the Rams for a fucking ride.
Yeah. 2 years, 2 first-round picks in a row.
So you're telling me Los Angeles thinks that their problems right now is on the defensive side of the ball with their corners? Because they scored 7 points versus the Niners.
You got Jared Goff throwing a healthy 70-some yards last week, so the offense is set, right?
Yeah, no, it's got to be, right? Jared Goff looked fantastic versus the Niners defense, who's been pretty good this year.
Yeah, but good.
But
I mean, they have their own issues on the offensive side.
they got a lot of offensive issues.
But defensively, you make this trade knowing that Jalen Ramsey is going to be your cornerback of the future, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that with either of those picks that they're going to be in a position to take a game breaker on the outside. And they were just in the Super Bowl last year, and I don't know what the record is today.
I think they're 3-3. They've lost 3 in a row.
Their eyes are certainly on the postseason.
Yeah.
So if they
they think so. That's what this move was for.
And if your window is now, when Goff's on the rookie contract, then you have to do what you need to do to win and set yourself up for the future. You know, if they get their thing is like they're not going to be able to pay Goff and get or bring back Marcus Peters, or if maybe they just want
they're not going to be able to pay Jalen Ramsey.
Move on from him. This trade wouldn't is not happening without there's going to be an extension signed. Like he's going to be.
Is Jalen Ramsey worth the money over some of those other guys that they have on defense or offense that they're going to have to pay? That's the question. Is he worth that extension? Because I don't know if he is.
It's tough.
He's a good cornerback. He's a lockdown cornerback. He's gonna
the
help their defense.
Best cornerback in the league. Would you say that, for example, all right, if he is on this level, which we kind of think that he is Darrelle Revis in his prime worth 2 first-round picks that are going to be in the 20s?
But that's where I was going to go.
Ramsey is
I don't put Jalen Ramsey into that upper echelon. I think he's a great cornerback. I'm not saying that. I'm not taking anything away from his abilities or his talents. I think he's a great cornerback. But when I think of Darrelle Revis, and now maybe this is just me because of my age at the time, but when I thought it was Revis Island, you didn't fucking go to Revis Island. When it was Richard Sherman, you didn't throw that way. People weren't targeting him. Like when I think of lockdown
Sherman was
corners,
a different situation where he got to play with his eyes on the quarterback the whole time, where Revis is just able to just lock down.
We did just get an update that we're going to have to talk about after this.
Okay, go ahead.
No, after this.
Oh, yeah.
Keep this going.
Well, go ahead, touch on this.
Here's my issue with the whole cornerback thing is you always have – I mean, there's 2 cornerbacks on the field. You can game plan around a cornerback. Unless you have a good defensive line or another strong cornerback, they can just not throw it. And we've seen it with, when Revis was there, nobody threw his way.
And when they did, he picked it off.
Yeah, when they did, he picked up. And Jalen Ramsey is the same way. He makes amazing plays. He looks like an offensive player on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, he does. He's a great player.
Yeah. And
top 3 corner in the league, if not number 1.
But the problem is if you're not generating the pass rush to get to the quarterback, he's just out there shutting one person down in the offense, and then the other side of the ball is, or the other side of the field.
There's 4 other guys that can still get the
are
ball.
just taking advantage of you. So it's like this play to me is, yes, it's for the future. Yes, they upgraded cornerback. Yes, they get younger, but it's you're sacrificing 2 first-round picks, 2 big picks that you could have coming up.
And if you hit on those picks, man, you're still your window didn't close because of Marcus Peters.
Those picks are still going to be in the 20s.
They are in win now mode, though. I mean, I get what they're trying to do.
That pick right now is not looking like it might be in the 20s. The Rams have looked awful the last 3 games.
But from their point of view, they were in the Super Bowl last year, and they're going after the postseason.
I think people forget how hard. I think because of the Patriots' success, people have forgotten how hard it is to get to a Super Bowl, let alone the playoffs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But
unless you're the Patriots.
To touch on your point.
They're the only ones that do it.
You start there.
As far as
where you get the schedule that they get this year.
What they have rushing the passer, I think that's going to be pretty substantial. I mean, just from the outside all the way in, you're looking at Eric Weddle at free safety, Aqib Talib on one side and Peters on the other side. And then you're looking at Fowler and Clay Matthews coming off the edge.
Their defense should be amazing.
With Brockers and Aaron Donald playing inside. On paper, and that's not even
They still have Ogletree, don't they?
No, he's gone.
Is he gone?
Yeah.
Who's their linebacker core right now? Or at least their inside
Bryce
guys?
Hager and Corey Littleton. But when you're playing a 3-4, like everything's funneled to those guys, and you can get away with
you need if your edge rushers are getting
Clay Matthews and Dante Fowler, like you're in a place where that's where you're going to give, and that's where they give.
On paper, they're fantastic.
Right now, their D-line is not producing like they should, though. That's the issue with that defense, I think. Yeah, their D-line is just not producing like they should be. I mean, when you have Aaron Donald in the center of your defense, and he's underperforming, you should have more sacks than they have.
Well, and Aaron Donald, I've seen snaps, like snap pixtures.
Or he's getting triple teamed.
Him being triple teamed. So,
but I mean, if he's taking on a triple team, where the fuck is Clay Matthews or Dexter Fowler?
Yeah,
washed. Not as good as we thought. Like, I mean, maybe
exactly.
maybe
Matthews is older now.
Yeah,
Fowler is maybe like
never
a 1
turned
or 2
into the
year.
player that they thought he was going to be out of Florida.
Yeah.
Well,
he was from Florida, right?
He wasn't drafted by this team either.
He was drafted by the
Jaguars.
But he was even on the Jags. He never was supposed to be. He was a first-round draft pick, wasn't he, out of Florida?
Yeah, but it's not like the Rams, especially
last year
with Dante Fowler here. Yeah, that's true. And with Dante Fowler here, it's not like the Rams haven't done their homework on Jalen Ramsey. Like, they know what they're getting, and they wouldn't make this trade if they weren't going to lock him down long term. There's no way.
No, I think you're right about that. They shouldn't make the trade if they're not going to give him the contract extension. I just don't know if Jalen Ramsey is a player that I would think about. This is a guy we need to give an extension to, and I just personally don't think that this is going to make the Rams any better as a team as a whole. Yes, they're going to get a little bit better on defense, but if their offense fucking can't score points, then what is it worth?
Their line, they need to improve their offensive line because they obviously can't run the ball like they used to. I mean,
and Todd Gurley has
it's
he
either
didn't even play last week.
Well, and it's like, and that's the thing that was interesting about last week is because they came out and the first drive, Malcolm Brown just ran the ball ran over the defense down the field. Had like 40-some yards total in the first drive, and then they just never went back.
They abandoned the run.
Yeah, it was like,
and then you run into a situation with Jared Goff, I think the week before, threw 57 passes.
Yeah.
And in 2 games, he threw 113 passes or something insane like that. Like that's not a way to survive.
New age offensive head coach / offensive coordinators.
Even though they've been a little bit more successful, it's kind of the same thing that like the issue that I have with Nagy and the stuff I've seen.
Well, where do McVay and Nagy both come from?
They come from the same tree.
Exactly.
What tree is it? Andy Reid.
Andy Reid's tree.
That's exactly right.
And Andy Reid's been known to do that over the years.
You're 100% correct.
Oh, I had so much faith in Nagy and the Bears this year, and
don't give up on us just yet. I know you guys beat us last week, but I wouldn't. Don't give up just
man,
yet.
It's all Trubisky. That's off topic.
We said we weren't getting into the Bears today. I'm just hoping he comes back for Week 7. All right, that's
really liking what I'm hearing coming from over here, but out of respect for everything,
just coming from the Dak.
I wanted to like him.
I'm hypercritical. You've got to understand. Like I just.
Trubisky is Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is Trubisky. They're the same player.
I'd take Dak Prescott today because he doesn't have a separated shoulder.
Okay, if you want to get into that part of it, I'll give it to you. I can't argue that. I'm hoping that by some miracle of God,
here we go.
That separated /
He didn't want to do it.
Partially torn labrum just teaches Trubisky to keep his shoulders square and to step into throws and just it's a magical fucking happening. It's not. But
oh man, I can't.
He's not an old dog. He's been.
I wish I could show you how many Bears I drafted. Robinson's
been having an all right year though.
Anthony Miller. I thought it was going to be his breakout year.
Dude, they're not using him, man.
Tariq and all oh man, there's so many Bears that I thought were going to be good.
This is the last thing I say because we said we weren't going to get into our own teams today. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem that we've had that a lot of people don't really understand, and it's not Trubisky, it's not anything else, it's the fucking offensive line is horrendous. Yeah. We can't run the ball because we get no push on the offensive line. David Montgomery has no fucking holes to run through, and he's electric every time he gets the ball. He somehow makes 6 yards out of nothing. Yeah. Kyle Long just went down on the IR, which sucks because Kyle Long was such a great player for so long, but he's a shell of himself. Charles Leno got paid, and the dude is trash. He's got the most holds in the league right now, most penalized left tackle in the league. He is awful. Hurt. But we have the backup who actually looked good in preseason, and we just brought a kid in that hurt his knee from Notre Dame, Alex Bars, who was a preseason All-American. Didn't get drafted because of the knee injury.
So he's Zion Williamson.
What?
You said preseason All-American.
Yeah, he's a preseason All-American. He's a preseason All-American at Notre Dame last year before his knee injury.
I thought you were talking about how great he played in the preseason.
No. He played well in the preseason too, but they signed him to the practice squad, and he just
got signed. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, next week. But all right. So breaking news. This just happened while we were on the air. It is confirmed Marcus Mariota is gonna be benched.
Ooh,
for Ryan Tannehill.
All right, so they're chasing Tua. Also, they're tanking for Tua as well. Then, because Ryan Tannehill is also he might be better than Mariota, but how much better?
I mean, not much. That's for sure.
There's been flashes where it's oh man, maybe Tannehill does have it, and then either gets hurt or then he throws 4 picks.
Yeah, he was a wide receiver for the most of his career in football, right?
That's only because the guy that was there ahead of him, he adapted while he was waiting.
I'm just saying
that's not fair. That's not totally fair to put on him.
Okay, all right.
It's not totally fair to put.
So he moved to wide receiver because there was another better quarterback
who was already there,
which is a bad case for him.
I mean, here's the thing: if you understand the situation at the time, Gerard Johnson was going into the season as a Heisman hopeful candidate, and Tannehill was just playing receiver. Obviously, Gerard Johnson.
Yeah, that worked out.
He got a couple snaps in the NFL, but. Total trash bag.
Well, I'm honestly surprised that Tannehill was held on to so long by Miami. I felt like he just and he didn't.
It wasn't 8 seasons.
It wasn't good for him, because he had a new coach every year. I feel like
Alex Smith effect.
Yeah. And it's that's tough for a quarterback to get going, and then there was never he had 1 year with decent production, and then they
made the playoffs last year.
Miami was that's it. He's our new guy. He's our next Dan Marino. And just stick with him. So
all very good points. It's just I think it's just a shitty luck of the draw with a mixture of injuries, switching coaches, new schemes, and maybe he just never really was that good.
Here's a fucking idea for the Tennessee Titans, and Justin would agree with this. So why don't we just hand the fucking ball off 30 fucking
Derrick
times?
Henry? Yeah,
why don't we just terrible?
Why would you do such a thing?
Why don't we just play football, man?
Oh man,
terrible.
My favorite was the exotic smash mouth that they installed a couple years back with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry, where they were running all these wild option plays. And I was like, that's fun football to watch. They're running opponents over. They're trying to do to the run what the NFL is doing right now to the pass, and it was working for a while. And,
Marcus Mariota is not Michael Vick, and I think that's probably where that might have,
Yeah.
They tried that with Lamar Jackson. Maybe we've got something, but I don't think running at the quarterback position is sustainable simply by the fact that running at the running back position isn't really sustainable. It's like a
3-year career is the average for running back.
We see how it goes for running quarterbacks, transitioning straight directly into the Cam Newton Kyle Allen debate. You're welcome for that.
That's a good segue.
I've gotten pretty good.
Say that's
I've gotten good.
Applause, Chris.
But here's the thing: if we stop and compliment me every time, it takes the effect away. So let's just run with it.
Yeah.
Dude,
what do they do? If you're Ron
here's the thing.
Rivera,
Everybody wants to talk about how Gardner Minshew has stolen that job away, and it's his job to lose to Nick Foles. How in the hell do you take the reins away from Kyle Allen at this point? How can you?
Let me just
How can you?
Let me
Because
just play
Panther
devil's
fans
advocate
want
real quick.
Cam?
I'm not saying I disagree with anything that you're saying right now. Let me just play the devil's advocate here. How much of Kyle Allen's success has been attributed to Christian McCaffrey just absolutely dominating teams?
Hey, guess what? Christian McCaffrey's been there for 99.9% of the snaps that Cam Newton has played. Actually, probably I bet you 100. You know, it's not 100 because he's come off the field. McCaffrey's not missed any time, and Cam's missed a bunch of time. And in the time that Cam didn't miss and Cam actually played, McCaffrey was good. But he didn't even utilize him, especially early on, like he should have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think Kyle Allen...
And he still set the record for catches as a running back.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're seeing Kyle Allen use his best... which is smart out of a quarterback. Use your best players as much as you can.
Let's look at the receivers. Let's look at Curtis Samuel. Let's look at... Who's the other one? DJ Moore. Let's look at their numbers in the last 4 games really quick.
I think Kyle Allen is a better pocket passer than Cam Newton. The only problem is Cam Newton is a chain mover when he is healthy.
He gives you something that's different.
He gives you something that's different, and he has a resume behind him. And he is largely entrenched in the Carolina community. So it's going to be hard to just hand the job to Kyle Allen, especially when you have someone from WVU like Will Greer pushing behind him.
Here's the thing.
So real quick before we go down, DJ Moore last game 7 catches, the game before 6. Now with Cam, he had 7 and 9. So I think that might even be a little bit of a misnomer. But the ball looks good coming out.
Here's the thing. Here's my thing with him. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing. If you told me that Kyle Allen should be the starter, I'm not going to argue with you. If you told me that Cam Newton is going to be the starter, I don't even know if I could argue with that. I think if Cam Newton was healthy, if he was 2014 Cam Newton, 2015 Cam Newton, 100% you go with Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton's shoulder's gone. I don't think he's the same passer that he was, and I use that term passer loosely. He just had a better, more active arm.
He could hit open people.
Exactly. But when you look at Kyle Allen stat-wise, he's got 6 fumbles, but he's got no picks. So what he's not doing, when he's not giving up the ball through the air, he's giving it up, on the ground.
That's ugly.
Right?
Yeah.
He's played well enough to not lose games, but who have they beaten?
You're right.
Arizona.
Now, I will say that going into Houston and beating the Texans,
that was huge.
But he didn't even.
But he didn't have a good game.
That was a game where he did what he had to do to win.
Yeah.
But again, the Jags, the Cardinals, the Bucks, they're not beating premier teams.
No.
Yeah.
But the Bucks are not a walkover either. They just beat the Rams.
No, but Jameis Winston did throw 5 picks.
It depends on what day you catch the Bucks on. They can show up and blow you out of the stadium, or they can show up and
lay an egg.
And Jameis Winston can contribute 6
I really
turnovers
think
in a
Jameis
game.
Winston might have a fucking vision problems. From what I understand, he doesn't have great vision already, and he doesn't want to wear contacts.
It sounds like color blindness because he's not seeing the right color jerseys when he's driving.
Definitely didn't see him in London. Definitely didn't see him in London with those 5 interceptions. Granted, I had the over, so I was pretty excited about that.
It's jet lag,
Yeah, right. It's always jet lag.
Well, here's the thing with Kyle Allen for me is he's not doing a whole like you're saying he's not doing a whole lot. He's just completing passes.
He's doing what he has to do to win games.
They have a middle of the road defense, which is good enough to stop some teams, and they have an offense that if you filter it through McCaffrey like they're doing, you're gonna control the ball and you're gonna beat teams. The only problem is that Cam Newton is set up to have the largest fall from grace that I think I've ever seen because as soon as his legs aren't working, what is he as a quarterback?
Yeah, that's true.
The biggest tell for me
that is very true.
And
he still can't read a defense.
In the last game that he played, I think it came down to the last play, and they were going for 2. And instead of running quarterback power with 6'6", 260-pound Cam Newton, they pitched the ball to McCaffrey and let him try to get outside.
That was a very telling play.
Down.
That was a very telling play.
And that moment, I knew that this is not the Cam Newton that won the national championship. This is not the Cam Newton who was drafted first overall. This is not the Rookie of the Year. It's not the NFL MVP. This is not Super Bowl appearing Cam Newton. This is shell Cam Newton that we have now.
Which is why I can't pick a side. I don't know which side to pick. I think
Bro,
if
I
it
don't
was
think
me,
you just give Cam his job back. He hasn't done anything in the last.
He didn't
18
do
months.
anything
He
well.
hasn't done anything in the last 18 months that would warrant him to have his
Here,
job
let's
back.
just
and
go-
Nick Foles has.
let's go around the table here.
Okay.
Gun to your head, right? Gun to your head. You got to pick you're Ron Rivera. Pick a quarterback. Who are you going with? Who do they got next week? I just saw it. Hang on.
I think Cam's still going to be out.
Yeah, Cam is definitely out.
They
If he was healthy, though,
they're on a bye. They have San Francisco after the bye.
if he was healthy, they're winning games with Kyle Allen. I'd keep Allen in
I
there.
don't think either of them can go in. Can beat the Niners.
They're not a threat with either quarterback, I don't
No.
think.
They don't scare you.
But who do you take? You're Ron Rivera. You got to make a decision. Cam Newton's healthy.
Hold on. I've seen Cam Newton every day for the last 18 months. How his shoulder can't be healthy, bro. It's like
He's healthy enough to play.
Okay, if he's healthy.
Kyle Allen, bro. He hasn't lost.
I'm going Kyle Allen too for the exact same reason.
The shitstorm that's going to bring up, though, like if you have Cam Newton and he's healthy enough to play and you don't play him, he's done. You can't play him again.
That's fine.
Because the media is gonna dig into that so
100%.
deeply and gonna create such a rift with those guys.
I'll make my bet and I'll lie in it. Kyle Allen has got me 4-0 in the NFC South, which is by far the weakest division in the NFC right now. You got Atlanta, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, who's been pretty tough with Teddy Bridgewater.
This is the first time in 10 years that they haven't been one of the top 2 or 3 divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can still make an argument that what you said is not accurate, but I agree with you to an extent.
For what?
It's a down division.
They're
definitely
down this
down.
year.
It's
They're
a
down this year.
this year.
But they could still,
You still have-
they could
it's still
have
Carolina
they
and
could
New
still have
Orleans.
2 playoff teams. So
Well,
how
that's
down
'cause-
are they?
Well, the NFC is just the NFC is
I
the
think-
West of the NBA.
I don't agree with you, but it's okay. Let's not a conversation. That we
Wait,
can
you don't think the NFC? This is a conversation. What? You don't think the NFC is by far not even close, superior to the AFC?
It is. The NFC is superior to the AFC.
So then what was the comment for? If
I
you
didn't know
believe
what
it,
you were. I didn't know what you were going
Yeah,
to.
I don't know. Like if you go division by division, I think the NFC has the strongest division.
It's deeper, it's
which
got-
is the North.
that is the fucking truth.
But I think the AFC's got some. Let's see.
The Texans and maybe the Texans, the
AFC
Chiefs and the Pats.
AFC West.
No,
AFC.
not doing it for me. No,
I'm saying
not
that
doing
the
it.
Oh
NFC
shit! I think the NFC is the best.
The NFC is the Western Conference in the NBA.
I'll agree with that. I thought that we
Yeah,
were going
no.
down an opposite.
Yeah, so I was like,
situation here.
how
We're gonna
do you disagree with me
we're
on
gonna
this
start
one?
screaming at each other like both of our favorite teams are in the NFC. What the fuck are you doing right now? Well, guess what? It was me. I was wrong.
We're talking about that's what I'm saying. We're talking about the NFC having a down year.
And they're still better.
The New Orleans Saints and Carolina are still fighting for a very realistic spot in the
And
playoffs.
is anybody really going to count the Falcons out?
I am.
Any team?
I am.
When they prepare for them, anybody? You think they still have all the same guys?
I love Matt Ryan because he's getting me hella fantasy points because he's throwing for like 350 a game, but that defense is fucking horrific.
And it's all
And Dan
it's all
Quinn's gonna be
garbage.
gone
Like they're
here
playing
soon.
catch up every game.
Yep.
And what is the deal with like it's just
With the weapons they have on offense, this should not be happening.
Exactly.
That's how bad the defense is.
it's like Kyle Shanahan's been missing from that offense for however many years he hasn't been there, and they keep trying to replicate it, and we keep expecting it to happen, and it's not. It's never been as good since
Well,
he was there.
hey, guess what? Devontae Freeman isn't as good as we thought, and you need running backs, guys. As much as everybody hates fucking running backs and hates drafting them, like you need
You need a good
you
running
need
back.
a couple. You need more than
He
one.
had a great week this week, but he's been a bane of my existence this fantasy
Freeman.
year. Yeah.
I'm in 2 fantasy leagues. One, I'm dominating. One, I did a fucking fantastic draft job. In our dynasty league, I've been catching the shaft. I got one of the better teams. I was last year's champion. I'm not out of it by any means, but I'm like 4th in points overall. But
It's okay. I played 3 guys who didn't play last week.
Ugh.
I was switching phones.
didn't you win?
No.
You didn't
Pretty
win?
sure I lost to Ignacio.
I thought you won this week. I could have sworn I seen you won.
I'll double check, but either way, it was that I think it was that day or it was the day before. I didn't have my fucking shit logged in. I'll check right now. You want to see something? How do you get a win starting that team?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And then he had the-
Wayne Gallman.
He had the best
I started-
fucking league winner. He had his only
Josh
win in the
Gordon
league
left
versus
his big
me.
games. Oh my god.
How
Evan
fucking
Ingram.
horrible is that? And I won.
That's the fantasy gods smiling upon you.
Right?
I'm having the exact opposite year. I have 2 wins. I have 3 leagues this year, and I've won 2 games.
Ouch.
I have two keeper leagues, which both like I inherited a shit team in that JSDL league with Justin, and Nick. And
Oh, hey, by the way, if
shout out to those guys.
hey guys,
Word to you, mother.
if there's ever an opening, Grip It Rip It would love to take up a dynasty spot in that league.
100%.
We'll make it global.
It's a very fun league, but the guy I took over the league for, who got thrown out on interesting terms.
Oh, I'm curious about them.
Well, I didn't really know him, so I just kind of got the call midnight. They showed up in black robes at my door and were like, "Are you ready to, are you in?"
Oh shit!
Yeah.
You're telling secrets.
No,
We'll find out if they listen to 35 minutes of this or
Yeah.
not. Those motherfuckers.
And so I inherited this team, and like his first pick of the dynasty draft, and this was like 3 years ago, was Marshawn Lynch. And I'm like, you don't pick an aging running back as your first.
You mean he could have
pick.
taken Ezekiel Elliott instead?
Probably, yeah. Like there were so many better options out there.
Damn.
That hurts.
So like I have this.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, I have this middling team, and I'm like just getting. They're not horrible.
You could say
because like last year I made a great trade. I got Kareem Hunt for like Jordan Howard and Keenan Allen or something like that, right? And this was before Kareem Hunt got exiled. and so I was like, this is great. And then I traded for James Conner for Carlos Hyde straight up. And then I got James Conner, and I got James Conner, Kareem Hunt. I got Kerryon Johnson. Like this, my backfield's ripping it up. I win like 5 straight. Kareem Hunt kicks a lady in a hotel, and then my season just goes. James Conner gets hurt. Everything goes downhill, and I'm still recovering. But it.
And that's rolled over into this season.
And then into this season now, I've got another league that's been rebuilding since this league I've had for the longest. It's like a keeper league that I've had for this is like the 16th year we've had it.
Very nice. I love shit like that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I've been to the playoffs 3 times in this league. Like
Is that good or bad?
It's horrible.
Okay, I've never been in one
It's
that long. I don't
16
know.
years.
But it's like
Dude,
I'm like the Browns.
You're in
of
this one.
team
If you
from
made
this
if
league.
you made the playoffs 3 times in 16 years, and no pun intended, do you think that
I mean,
that
how
would be
many?
successful?
Hang on. Let me preface this then. How many championships?
Me,
Yeah.
have I won in that?
Yeah.
League? None.
Okay. Well, that's bad.
Then it's not very good.
I was saying, but you won 3 times and won 3 championships. That's not all right.
I won the consolation bracket one year. That's as best as I've done. So, but I also stopped paying attention to it when I was in college. I was drinking a lot and not giving a fuck about football or whatever. So like my team went to shit, and now I've been rebuilding since 2005 or whatever. And so and so I always have this one other league where I do redraft, and that's my baby. Where I'm like a top 3 scorer every year in that league.
I hate redraft.
Well, it's great because it's like it gives me a new chance. My other 2 teams are constantly rebuilding.
I'm over it.
And then this year, I drafted like every bust that I could possibly get. Like I've got DeAndre Hopkins, who was my first round pick. He's like doing 10 points a game, and that's not what your first rounder should have. Sony Michel, who can't get a goal line, Gary.
Don't trade Hopkins now. Don't let one of these people
never,
swoop in and.
I'm gonna die with him.
Don't let somebody come in and offer you 2 or 3 guys for him.
For who?
DeAndre Hopkins, because you know that
He's gonna go off.
I got
have
I got
Deshaun
a gripe
Watson.
to pick with him though. I got a gripe.
Well, I have
Gripe?
Deshaun
Actually,
Watson.
it's not
too,
even
so
with
it's like
it's not even with Hopkins. It's with that fucking asshole.
oh,
Watson.
tell us about Deshaun.
He's tearing it up.
No, he needs to throw the fucking ball to DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh well, yeah.
This guy drafted DeAndre Hopkins apparently.
He was huge for me last year. He's fucking killing me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, granted, yes. So here's the thing with my fantasy team. Last year, I would say number 2. He had number 3, and then another guy in the league had number 1. His team was insane. Somehow I beat him for the championship.
I
Right?
had 4.
Were you 4?
Yeah, that's why I have Saquon instead of Zeke. Trust
So-
me, I know.
So I ended up winning the league with the second best team. I beat the guy with the first best team. Kind of, it was a little bit of luck. Good week.
That's how it happens.
I took 3rd for the record.
He did.
First, the dominant team never wins the championship.
Yeah, we're gonna take him down
Right.
this year too, aren't we, Dan?
Fucking right we are.
We're gonna even if we have to sneak into his house on fucking
change his team.
Sunday morning and go change his team, Dan. You and I, we're fucking doing it.
But last year, I'd have decent weeks, and I would put up fucking massive weeks, right? Because Hopkins would go off for 2 touchdowns and 200 yards, whatever. I had a great receiving core last year. Not much has changed in my team. I thought that I improved the team for the most part. I brought in Kerryon Johnson. Running back was where I was starting the most. I brought in James White. And this year, I have been good still. Like I said, I'm still top 5 in the league in scoring. I've caught like every fucking team on their best week thus far. I have the highest points against so far.
You couldn't catch me in the week that I start 3-0s.
Yeah, exactly. I caught him on the week that he's got the highest fucking score in league.
That was
history.
nice. I didn't have to pay anybody that week. It was awesome.
We have an absolute like anomaly going on. We have an undefeated team in our league right now that's 6-0, I guess is 6-0 right now, and he's like 8th in scoring.
Dude,
out of 12.
Same thing in one of my
ridiculous.
leagues. He's 4-2. So the other league I'm in 5-1. I lost week 1 because the guy that I played, I had the second highest score. He had the first highest score. Mm-hmm. So I lost week 1, and I've been dominating since then. Yeah. But the guy that's third in our division, because I'm tied with another guy at 5-1, he's 4-2. Lowest amount of points scored in the entire league. Yet somehow has 4 fucking wins.
Defense wins championships, you know? You got to keep those teams low you're playing against.
But so we didn't put it on the board.
Oh, real quick, while we're on Dynasty.
Get it.
Dynasty, how about the fact that I traded Nick Tariq Cohen for what I thought was going to be like the number 1 overall pick, and that motherfucker is 5-1.
I know, dude. Nick's killing it.
He went 0
Even though I beat Nick.
He literally went 0 for last year, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm just going to trade this Bear fans Terry Cohen for his next year's number 1 first, and now that dude's 5-1. Like,
you still got a good deal with that.
Yeah, but I thought I was going to get the number 1 pick, man. And Terry Cohen's not the reason he's 5-1 either.
Yeah.
I think Cena will start losing some more, too, because I want his high pick.
Cena's out of the league.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Say less.
Yeah.
That's Dan's team now.
Who's Dan?
We've got 2 Dans, 2 Ryans, and 2 Nicks.
Wow.
In a 12-man.
That's confusing.
I didn't know
that must be confusing.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, well, that happened.
Okay, I mean, that's fine with me, but...
No, it didn't matter.
But I still have his pick, so fuck Dan.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
But like...
Okay, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but the thing about my team this year is, dude, I'm fucking like, my average points per game is just like the most consistent... like number that I'm hitting my average every fucking
That's what you
game.
Want too is
As long as
consistency.
you're hitting
No, it's not. I want to win games.
Long term, as long as I'm hitting my numbers, like I'm okay win or lose.
I'm 2-4.
That's why like sometimes players like Carlos Hyde and they get a bad rap, and I'm like, Carlos Hyde gets 10 points to 10 to 12 points every game. I'll take that from a running back too. I'll take that from a flex. That's the consistency. I have my pop players over here with like Mike Evans, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, all these players that can go off, Christian McCaffrey, whatever. They can go off for big numbers, but you have to find those flex players and those RB2s and the wide receiver 3s that are going to produce 10 points a game.
And it's important to work the waiver wire. Like, you got to pay attention all year long.
It's hard to work the waiver wire in our league.
Oh, by the way, if you don't have DeAndre Hopkins, go try and trade for him. Mm-hmm. And if you have DeAndre Hopkins, don't fucking sell.
That's what hurts me so much.
You're in too deep.
Is that Watson is not targeting Hopkins as much as he should.
It's coming, bro.
And the thing is that's what
everything's
I keep telling myself.
3-yard target.
I keep telling myself it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's yet to happen. So hopefully it happens here soon. But the one thing that we didn't put on the board that I'm surprised you didn't put on the board because I put it in the text.
Oh yeah, I know. I thought about that about 5 minutes ago.
I don't really
want to talk about it.
Here, listen. Whether we even want to talk about it or this is just my clip to use for social media is what do we do about the absolutely horrific officiating this year? Okay, let me tell you. The referees need to be fucking reprimanded already. This shit is getting absolutely absurd. Start fining the referees for absolutely blown calls and taking away their money, and watch how fast these games get cleaned up. It is absurd.
It's absurd to me that you also have a replay system to correct it, and they still can't get it right.
Oh, I know. Pass interference, which is like
you think
5
ridiculous.
of 35 so far.
You think that if you took $4.6 million away from a linebacker that he'd stop headhunting, right?
Oh, you think that if he stopped headhunting, you don't think Earl Thomas should be suspended for the entire season?
No, he should have got 4 games for sure. He doesn't have a track record.
Wait, I thought you were talking about Vontaze Burfict.
He was.
Well,
here we go.
Yeah! That's why.
What an asshole.
That's why he got a year. Okay, like
we went over it 2 weeks ago. We don't need to rehash it. We already know what side I'm on.
What an asshole, though, right?
Fucking ass clown.
1 penalty in 2 years, and it was gave him a year-long suspension.
Track
didn't deserve it.
Dot.
And then
record,
sure as shit,
dot.
Earl Thomas does the exact same thing the next week, and he's Still playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the bad
It's
boy
all
image.
it's all based upon the name. It has nothing to do with
Yeah.
anything else.
Perfect.
But back to the referees.
He's fucked himself though. I mean, he's done it over and over and over.
No, it was only done it once. It was the Antonio Brown hit in 2016.
Wow.
And to Anthony Sherman.
Yeah, but it wasn't head to head.
I'm pretty sure I could pull up a YouTube clip of just his dirty hits throughout.
Yeah,
the
there's going to be
NFL.
a bunch of stupid shit I agree with.
Yeah.
Like, the Anthony Sherman hit was fucking cheap, stepping on people, trying to twist ankles, all dirty shit.
Like, I
I'm
don't want
talking
him out.
about
I'm a Raiders fan. I want him on
I'm
the
talking
team.
strictly about the helmet to helmet. That did not warrant even
yeah.
Jack Doyle came out and said that he
Yeah.
didn't think it was a dirty hit.
Yeah, and also helmet-to-helmet contact is so coincidental half the time that it's like the referee should be able to differentiate between malintent or not. you
Okay,
know?
well,
He would argue that there was definitely malintent.
there was
I would say.
100% malintent on that. Did you watch the clip?
Let's just go back to what we're supposed to be talking about. I don't want to revisit the context.
Please.
Back to what you're saying about how they can go back and review pass interference now.
Aren't they like
Yeah.
two for? They've only
They-
overturned
they-
like two.
They're
Really
not.
overturned
The refs
anything.
are in rebellion of that whole
Yeah,
thing.
and it's ridiculous. Like, you go back
Well,
to
how many
that,
calls
and
were
the
there last
coaches-
night? Oh fuck, dude.
The
illegal
the
hand-
hands to the
twice?
face, yeah.
Two of them erroneous. Both of them.
That extended
yeah.
drive.
They literally cost
Like-
the game. They literally took.
I'm not saying they cost the game, but they certainly took away the chance. They took away the opportunity for
Both
the
of them.
Lions to
One of
win.
them, I know one for sure was a third down. That extended the drive. I don't
That
know
was
what
the
the other
one
one
at
was.
the end of, wasn't it?
That was the last drive.
Put him right in field goal range.
And then they had the Lions blatant PI that wasn't
bad.
called.
Maybe it's a makeup call. No, it was against.
No, it was against the Packers.
Yeah. It was a guilt
Packers-
call.
Packers-
They doubled down. It was guilt.
Now, granted, the Packers have a history of always being on the right end of calls for the most part. You have the one, if you want to harp on it, with the Seahawks with the referee replacements. But Dez caught it. Packers.
Oh, yeah.
It's happened numerous times with Detroit, where Detroit's gotten screwed in a Packers game at the very end off of bad officiating. Like, the Packers normally end up being on the right side of history. You could look it up. It's documented. That's not something we don't know. I say it's because Aaron Rodgers, and they want the Packers to be good because it's good for a small market team to be successful. But last night, two erroneous
they're
calls,
like the
and then
teacher's
the
pet
PI.
of the NFL.
Yeah, they are.
Them and the Patriots are like the teacher's
But
pets of the NFL.
They're like
back.
a bad boy. Who
They
gets
just love 'em.
They just get detention, but they still like them. It's like,
Yeah, they do dirty stuff, but the teacher can see no wrong.
Yeah, they
you know?
can't look away either.
The worst PI that I've seen, at least from watching, and I'm sure there's probably worse than this, was the Packers-Eagles game. And this has nothing to even do with the Packers because they lost that game, at the end. But Alshon Jeffrey went up for a pass for a first down on third down, and literally his arms were hit out of the way of being able to catch the ball, and he
Hands
wasn't able to
across-
catch
yeah.
it. They reviewed it, and they still called it no PI, even though the quarterback got there before the ball got to Alshon Jeffrey, and he knocked his hands away.
I think that all that has to happen is there has to be an exact recreation of the Rams New Orleans situation. That's the only way that these refs are going to call, because the whole thing was brought about because of that. Now it's got to be like, you have to just completely blow the receiver up before the ball gets there to even warrant Duke. Because if I'm a coach right now in the NFL, I am not challenging any pass
not worth
interference
it.
because the percentages are so low to get it right.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Even when you're right, they're not going to change it.
And I think the NFL strictly only made this rule change as a PR thing. It was marketing. It was public relations, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it.
Look,
it was to make
we
people
did it.
happy.
Look,
we
we
did
did it.
something.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, well, yeah, we fucked that one up, so we're going to make a rule change.
Now Saints fans can sleep at night.
Yeah.
Thanks,
It's
guys.
ridiculous. Reprimand the fucking referees. The shit is getting ridiculous. Start to find them and take money out of their pockets and watch how fast these games get cleaned up.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I'll say for that.
So China.
Fuck you, LeBron James.
All right.
Hot take.
Oh,
Hey.
I don't want to talk about it again.
He's like, he does, but he
It's the
doesn't.
second
But he
thing
does,
in
but
a
he
row I
doesn't.
don't want to talk about, man. It's hard, dude, because like we were talking about it earlier. As an American, like you should be free, and America tries to spread democracy.
I'll let you
But-
guys take it, and then I'll give my little take,
But
and then that's it.
that-
We can move on.
That detracts from the entire thing of China, who is in like a socialistic.
They're communists. They're a
Yeah,
communist
they're a
country.
blurry
you know?
communism because they're
And-
also very capitalist
And
at the same time.
and the people of Hong Kong feel like they're not getting the respect that they have deserved since being handed over to China from the UK in 1997. if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So they're standing up for themselves. And I think that as Americans, that's like,
We support that.
that's a general.
As a country, we
Kind of
support
what we,
that. Yeah.
did, something
But
similar to
that's
that.
not
back in
how
the
that's not
1700s.
how China works.
No, China's not like that. at
Which
all.
is like what's really kind of crazy, because now we're finally seeing like we're crossing paths with, and it's actually becoming a real situation where it's like that's not the way we operate, and some people don't understand the difference. But even if you do, like, our free speech is being used to cut away from business deals that affect global economies. It's fucking crazy, really, when you look at it.
Well,
For all the things that's going to be affected in the NBA because of it, yeah, 100%.
And it's beyond that even, but we'll just stick to NBA.
well, that's China's next big step. They get personal freedom, and then they are pretty much on equal grounds with any Western country, because they already have all the money. They have like all the things that they need. Once their people get personal freedoms, they are going to be a real, like, it's going to be a great place to live. Like China would be a decent place to live. Why is basketball so big? Why is it even involved in this? Why is it like this is such a bigger picture than basketball? Why are we even caring what the Rockets owner was? It the
Because
owner or the coach?
It was the Rockets,
Rockets
general
GM.
manager
GM.
who said, quote, "I stand with Hong Kong," end quote.
Okay,
End
so,
tweet.
yeah, so like that's great. Why do we even care? Because like, why are we even taking the NBA? Like, I mean, it's such a non-story to the NBA and such a real life story that's also
Well,
happening.
that's exactly what it is, because the NBA is the real life. Like, that's what it is. It's real life NBA in China, and the real life NBA is mixing with real life China, where we don't have the same values. So what I feel like I almost feel like it's like a power play from China. Like, no, that's not how we operate here. Y'all can either get in line with our communist actions or y'all can get out. And it's a tough pill to swallow as Americans, but sometimes I think that you just got to just like bite the bullet a little bit. I mean, like,
yeah.
I don't know how much are we. I don't think the NBA is the route to change or to provide democracy for China.
No.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't. How much money is at stake here?
probably a lot.
Enough to
There's
where
so
most NBA
much.
teams won't have enough money to make
Other-
a max contract next year.
Enough money to where that GM from the Rockets got fucking fired and exiled immediately upon saying free speech.
Oh, he got fired over that.
he's totally
He's done.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, that does speak volumes to how important their relationships with China is. I
Well,
mean, that's
so like I said, I'll let you get whatever you want to get out, because then I'm going to go in on this pretty tough here.
yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, and then you add the whole LeBron James thing going on into it now. Like, it's creating a lot of drama, and the drama is unnecessary, I think, because like they're asking LeBron James, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And they're asking, and like the owner speaks out and he gets fired from it. Like, obviously the NBA has vested interest monetarily with this country. Why else would they fire someone over doing that?
Because they lose.
That's
The salary cap's going to go down by like 18%.
We're a capitalist country. We're trying to make money. Even though they're a communist country, they're all about making money. Like, there's gonna be conflicting interests when you come out and say things like that. But I don't understand. I think it's wrong that they would fire a guy over that, because he was just expressing his and the NBA commissioner, what's his name?
Adam Silver.
Adam Silver. He came out and said there is a freedom of speech clause. He came out and supported the freedom of speech clause that they support, and the NBA has traditionally been good about that. Why? I just don't understand like how
why
it spiraled so far out of control.
Right here, dollars. That's the
Yeah.
only reason. People are crazy. People are crazy over money, power hungry, money hungry, and that's what happens when they need everybody to just fall in line, and that's fucked up, because that's not what America is, but that's what China is.
Yep. All right.
Go
So here, gonna go in real
Do you
fast.
think that we did a pretty
No, you guys did a bang up job. I thought you hit a lot of main points.
a
there.
decent job without
Here comes the heater.
without exiling ourselves?
Yeah, well, but, I mean, I don't know if this is going to exile ourselves. I feel like this should get us more fucking viewers if you ask me.
Here we go.
But
Change up down the middle. You know
yeah,
it's coming.
exactly.
You know it's
I'm
coming.
First time on the podcast, I'm getting fired already. This is great.
Right?
Never speak about China again.
Okay, here's my take.
We can't go to China after this.
Here's my thing. One, I can't stand all sides on this. There's so much trash everywhere to be had on this. You have right wing, left wing, politics all of a sudden involved in sports. You have Fox News, who was telling LeBron James to shut up and dribble. Then they were telling him that he needs to come out and make a comment. Like, what do you want these athletes to do first off? Do you want them to have a role model, a pedestal to where they can speak out about a platform to stand on and speak out about social issues? Okay. If that's the case, then let's make it that way. Don't just make it to where it's only because, oh, well, we want you to support our side or we want you to support our ideals. That I can't stand, number one. The hypocrisy from within ourselves. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I cannot stand how the NBA has fucking handled this so far. They have done a piss poor fucking job. Now, it makes sense to me because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the fucking bottom line, and the NBA's true colors, and a lot of these players and coaches'
green.
true colors have shown
They're green.
Exactly.
Their colors are green.
That is it. Their true colors are the fucking bottom line and how much money they're making.
That's just business in America, baby.
It is.
We gotta have money.
You have Maury came out with the tweet. Then Adam Silver goes out and says and practically apologizes to China because China's reaction to the tweet was, okay, well, guess what? NBA is done in China. No more games. Shoe deals are going to go away. We're going to sever ties with everything that the NBA does here in China. Then Adam Silver comes out and talks about how, almost apologetically saying that, well, he shouldn't have done that, this and that. Then, 2 days later, comes out and says that, well, we're not being apologetic. We just think Maury was, regretful in what he tweeted, right? So now we're pretty much just bending down heel and toe to China saying that, oh, well, we really fucking apologized. Please don't take our money away from us. When we should be saying, no, fuck you. If you want to sever ties, sever ties. We don't need you. You need us. We bring shit to your economy. You don't need us. Now, granted, I could be wrong on
Both
some
sides need
there.
each other. Let's be real.
I think
it's a mutual relationship.
I think China needs us more than we need China.
I can't call it.
I don't know. I don't know how true that is because it's such a huge country that's making so much money.
They don't need us
NBA wise.
I'm
not talking.
Oh yeah, NBA. No,
wise.
we're the premier market of basketball.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm talking NBA wise. We don't need them as much as they need us.
The NBA needs China more.
I don't know. And if
I'm
wrong, please.
There's a billion fucking viewers that they don't get anymore.
But then here's what happens. So yeah, you're right. The salary cap's going to go down.
We're just talking about this. It's I'm not fucking telling you you're wrong.
No, that's what I'm saying. And if someone out there knows more about it than I do, please feel free to comment, or we'll bring you on and we could talk about it. But they've handled this.
Fly you out here. You've got to fly yourself.
Yeah, we don't got that type of money
yet.
Get
that out of the way. Unless you want to sponsor us too, and then
we'll think about it. But so yeah, the NBA has handled this fucking terribly up to now. We don't apologize to China. We do not back down or kneel down to fucking communist countries. That's not something that we do here.
That's not American.
Yeah, exactly. We believe in the freedom of speech. We believe in freedom. We believe in a lot of these American ideals. Now, I'm not saying that we're like that we're the only country that has them and these things, because plenty of countries have the exact same things that we have. But those are our ideals here, and those are what we should stick to. Okay? Then, all of a sudden, to make matters fucking worse, the number one athlete on the entire planet decides to come out and say that, and I quote, I don't want to get into a feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke. And that's just a quick quote of what was a much longer quote from LeBron James. So you're telling me the man that has a fucking high school diploma from a high school in Akron wants to call Daryl Morey, who has a degree from Northwestern and MIT, uneducated about a situation that's going on somewhere in the world? No, fuck you, LeBron. You're worried about your goddamn shoe deal and how much money you're going to rake in this year because of what's going to happen with China if they sever ties with the NBA. And Adam Silver probably got on the phone to him and said, you need to go out and make this comment because you can help smooth things over, and it's completely backfired.
That's the real issue to me.
Fair, but Dan, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
What if you're LeBron James? What are you supposed to do?
If I'm LeBron James, I say exactly what I feel like. I'm LeBron fucking James. I can do what I want.
So how can you possibly get mad at him saying exactly what he felt like there?
Because that is...
He reads it as a shot from above.
Yeah, I don't think that was LeBron James's ideas, because if this was LeBron James who's taking such a heavy stance on social activists,
standing up for themselves,
and
actually speaking.
You think he was coached to say that?
100%. I think somebody
far
forced him to
beyond
say
the
that.
GM of the Lakers, he thinks it came down from Adam Silver himself.
And if it didn't come
I
down
don't know.
from Adam
You can't
Silver,
even coach LeBron James on the court, let alone come on. He is the biggest social
activist
activist
in the NBA.
In the NBA. I think he was asked a question, he was cornered, and he said a little too much that he didn't really even want to say, because it goes on to talk about in that same speech how he's like, I think at times we have these platforms like Twitter and we say things we shouldn't have said, and we should think about it before we send it out. I think he's right about that, and I think he's doing exactly the thing that he said he shouldn't be doing.
And every single person in America actually agrees. Like, if you live in America, if you pledge your allegiance to the flag, you agree with the tweet.
Exactly.
You agree with it.
Yeah.
You agree with it.
There was nothing wrong with the tweet.
Yeah.
How does
that get you fired in today's
crazy?
And like I'm saying, whether it was top, and I think there's only two realistic ways that this came down. It either was Adam Silver telling LeBron James that he needed to make a comment, and this is the comment you're going to make, or LeBron James was only worried about his bottom line. Because for how much social activism that he does and how much he speaks out about social, issues, all of a sudden you're going to side with China? Is that because you have shoes that are made over there? Is that because that you have endorsement deals that you'll be losing money on? How much money is LeBron James losing if China severs ties?
I think this guy has every word he says dissected so far that it starts to look like a grand scheme that he's doing, and he's just saying what he's like in this situation. He's just saying what's coming to his mind, and he should have just shut his mouth and should have been no comment. Because I don't think
side with America.
And then he later said, "I'm not educated enough on the situation to talk about it." So it's not. I don't think he's saying
damage control.
I don't think he's. Well, yeah, but possibly. But also, I don't think he's trying to attack the Houston GM. I think he's trying to. He's just trying to squirm his way out of a media attention situation that he doesn't want to be in. Particularly for him, he's in a situation right now where he's already delicate in the media because of last year's performance and the whole Lakers situation. So I don't think he even wants that around him. I think it's just being pushed to him.
I think you're right when you're saying that he didn't mean anything negatively or ill-mattered towards Daryl Morey. I think that's correct. I think that he's trying to somehow smooth over this entire situation and heal the ties that have been severed.
And he should have just shut up.
And exactly. And there should have been either no comment made, or he should have stood on the side of our country. You do not side with the communist country. You just don't do it. I don't care how much money you have involved with it. That's my
that in itself is infringement upon personal freedom, though, right?
It is.
It is, but
historically,
it's LeBron's bottom line.
Whether I agree with you on that idea, but it's like that. It's his. It's his.
But that's my hot take. We can move on from that.
Word up, my ninja. I wish this thing stood up better. LeBron stands up hella good. This thing is top heavy. I'm telling you guys, go 15 minutes. Poet Anderson, Dreamwalker on YouTube.
Dreamwalker.
It's very good.
All right, boys. Well, real quick, let's just hit up a Major League Baseball playoff recap. We're in the NLC. We're in the championship series right now. We got the NLCS and the ALCS going on. The NLDS was the Nationals versus the Dodgers, and the Nationals ended up winning in 5.
Shocker to everyone.
It was a shocker. And then
them.
the ALDS, we had the Rays versus the Astros, and the Astros handled that pretty easily. Actually, I won't say easily. It went to 5 games too, but they shut them down in Game 5. They did what they had to do. So right now we are in the midst of the championship series.
Now I pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people just started tuning into baseball again. We have the Astros won this morning 4-1. That gave them a 2-1 lead in the championship series over the Yankees. And the Washington Nationals-Cardinals game is going on right now. It's 7-4 in the bottom of the 7th.
Nationals still up.
Nationals are still up. And my God, are the Nationals fucking hot.
I mean, it's amazing, dude. They've got all the pitching in the world.
But they've been throwing I feel like they've only thrown Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Anibal Sanchez, and Daniel Hudson, and it's just like a rotation.
Question.
Okay, you're done. Okay, we're gonna throw you in.
Which team is Charlie Morton on?
The Rays.
Okay, he was dirty too.
For the Astros? Is that what you're saying?
Even this year, dude. I don't know. I saw something. I thought he was actually on the fucking Nationals show.
Nah, he's on the Rays.
Shows how much I pay attention to baseball. But he pitched well. His stuff's dirty. Outside the fact that the Nats were able to get what they got from Anibal Sanchez.
Back-to-back 7-inning no-hit baseball with Sanchez and then Scherzer.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
In
man.
1 and 2, in games 1 and
He's
2.
been a guy who has routinely been like the 1 or 2 on these squads and like has been below average in his entire career ever since he left the Marlins. However, in these like weird big spots, he's actually pitching well.
That to me is the crazy thing about baseball is if you get in the postseason and all of a sudden a couple players just turn it up.
Everything
You've got a shot
The
now.
slate is wiped clean.
Yeah.
Baseball is a sport where if you get, I mean, and this is true to any sport really, but if in baseball, I would say more so than any, if you get hot at the right time, crazy things happen. They're about to sweep. They're about to sweep the Cardinals.
What's that old guy for the
National-
Giant Hunter Pence, remember him?
Yeah.
That dude just showed up in the playoffs like he was a Hall of Fame player all
Same
the
thing
time.
with Madison Bumgarner. He was a really good regular season pitcher, but in the fucking postseason, he was
Lights
out.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what the Nats are doing. And I'd be real scared of the Nats right now with how they've been putting a beating on the Cards.
So before we talked, when we were like talking about this, but when we weren't talking about it, I wanted to say that they're going to sweep, right?
Most likely, it's what it's looking like.
This American League Series, I think everybody would kind of agree. It's probably going to go 7 or 6. If it goes 6, Houston. But
the way I texted it to you was the Battle of Goliaths.
it really is. I think that it kind of moving into the World Series, that this is not going to be a good scenario for the Washington Nationals because
It's gonna be tough.
They're going to be off like 10 days without playing,
Yeah, that can
Roughly.
definitely cool a hot streak. That's for damn sure.
and then they're going up against the best lineup in baseball, no matter who fucking wins.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
either the
It's
Astros or the Yankees.
up.
The best series going in this whole playoffs is going to be the Astros and Yankees.
This is the World Series.
Yeah.
If you,
The winner of this series,
the best
is,
two teams.
This
yeah,
is the World
100%.
Series. The winner of this series, Yankees Astros, is going to win the World Series, and from day one, Houston.
It's like a couple years ago with the Golden State Warriors and the Rockets. It's just like you're watching the best two teams play weeks before the actual championship is done.
That wasn't the year that LeBron came in and beat the Warriors afterwards, was it?
No, I think it was the year after that, maybe.
So the year before last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It was 2018. 2018, I think, is the year you're talking
Yeah.
about. But I mean, I like I said, teams get hot. Nats are hot. If they cool down, 100%. I don't think they have a chance versus Yankees or the Astros. But if they can continue this hot streak and they keep playing above their abilities, watch out, man. Watch
their
out.
pitching is going to make them look like an appealing team with a chance.
But yeah, it's true.
I just don't. I think that eventually, like either of those lineups are going to be able to hit these guys.
Here's the thing: is you gotta feel bad for the Dodgers. They blew it in game. They had it game 5, bottom of the 8th, top of the 8th, 3-1 game, and then our biggest piece of the shit of the week. See how I segued that one into it?
I knew what you were doing.
Yeah, baby. Our biggest piece of shit of the week. He's not really a piece of shit. He's actually a really good guy. Skylar, you want to tell the fans who our POS of the week is?
It's got to be Clayton Kershaw.
It is, man. Is there ever been a player that is more bipolar when it comes to their regular season performance or their postseason performances?
No.
Not in the way that he is, where he's lights out in the postseason or regular season, and then folds in the playoffs.
It is like
It's crazy how the pressure of the postseason can get to him that much. Like he drops off so much as a top level pitcher in the postseason.
Go ahead. What did you say?
Don't they have a top tier closer in Kenley Jensen?
Not anymore. Kenley Jensen blows things left and right.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well,
He's still considered one of the top closers, but he loves to blow games.
I hate throwing pitchers on low rest, like on minimal rest.
Here's the thing. What they did with Clayton was perfect. They brought him out to get one out in the 7th versus Adam. I think it was Adam Eaton. Beautiful idea. Got the out, got out of the inning. Kershaw's done.
Why don't we go to the setup guy?
Yeah. Why did he come out that next
Why don't we get to the guy that's pitched the 8th inning all year long?
And to be fair, Kershaw blew the lead. He didn't give up the lead. And then in what was it in the 9th inning? They gave up a grand. The 10th inning, they gave up a grand slam.
Yeah,
Like
but that was another thing. Why did they keep Joe Kelly in for another inning?
yeah.
Joe
Howie
Kelly
Kendrick-
shouldn't have been in there.
Howie Kendrick had been totally shut down in that entire game. He was like, he did not have a good game.
Yeah,
either.
now he's about to win NLCS MVP. But
It's crazy.
here's the thing, and I can't put, and like, he is the biggest piece of shit of the week, not because he's a terrible person, but just because he's fucking awful in the playoffs.
Not
And
even because he's a bad player.
Yeah,
He's a great player.
And
Like,
I really think that it's the only people that would actually consider him really a piece of shit is probably Dodgers fans because they're sick of his shit with always
they're-
blowing things in the
they're
playoffs.
throwing his jersey onto the field,
Yeah,
man.
like I got one of my best friends, Ted. You met him. He's a Dodgers fan, and I texted him. We were watching the game, and I was texting him, and I said, I'm like, dude, I gotta feel bad for the guy. Like, has there ever been a player that is just that unclutched? There's no such thing as the clutch gene. That's impossible. There's nothing in our DNA. Is there something inserted to where all of a sudden you're clutch, but you're not clutch?
yeah.
I disagree.
Some
but go on.
people react
I
better.
disagree, too.
Some people react.
Okay.
Some people react better to pressure than others.
Exactly. Somehow there is such thing as I'm specifically saying scientifically there's no such thing as a clutch gene, but there is.
Science hasn't found it yet.
Yeah.
They're working on it.
Somehow
for sure.
there are guys that perform
Kershaw has provided great evidence
right
to that.
If there's baseline, there's guys that are up here when it comes to being in clutch situations.
Michael Jordan, Kobe.
Exactly. And then there's guys that are down here. And then there's
You
guys
gonna
that are
put-
further
you gonna
lower
put-
than
you gonna
that.
put LeBron down there, or is he?
I mean, there's
I put
there's
LeBron
definitely a
probably
case.
over-
He's over the median.
I wouldn't put
There's
him Michael
definitely-
Jordan.
Is he
or Kobe
over the
Bryant.
median?
I'd put him above the median.
All right,
He's done
fair.
a lot of clutch stuff in his career.
Fair.
I don't think certain players perform better in the clutch. I think they just perform their norm in the clutch, and then certain players let the pressure get to them.
That's an interesting take that I think you could definitely argue.
Yeah.
But Clayton's like, if this is the baseline and this is guys that are bad and then this is guys that are real bad, then it's like further than that, it's Clayton.
Which is insane for a guy who's way up here.
who
for like,
is by far one of the greatest regular season pitchers of all time,
Yeah.
3-time Cy Young Award
and
winner.
it's probably going to get a couple more.
Like it's
Oh, yeah.
insane.
He'll probably come out next
And
year
I-
and just tear it up all season long.
And I
Oh, he's up
texted
and
him
down.
and I was like, dude, I just feel bad for the guy.
Ted, not Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I feel
He
bad for
texted- he
Clayton.
said he Clayton Kershaw.
You texted.
I texted Ted.
Yeah.
I feel bad
Like,
for Clayton.
Kersh,
I
what's
feel
up,
bad,
babe?
Kershaw, what are you doing?
I feel bad for Ted too, but like, I was just like, dude, I feel bad for the guy. He's like, you know what? None of us really do anymore because it's become such a constant thing. And to his credit, that home run that Anthony Rendon hit was absurd. There's no way in hell that ball should ever have gotten out. These balls, 100% are juice, and I'm fine with it. I don't care. But that ball was at his fucking ankles.
I like
and
that.
it was a chop down swing that he just dropped the barrel on, and somehow it went 375 and like
I like
102
that other
off the
pitcher,
bat.
man. Bueller.
Walker?
Bueller.
Bueller.
He pitched well early in that game, man.
He did. He fucking threw a gem.
And the game before.
But at the end of the day, Clayton just can't get it done in the playoffs, so he's got to be our biggest piece of shit, man. Because if you're a Dodgers fan, how pissed are you right now that the Nationals
2 years
are
in a
just,
row. 2
just
years in a row.
dominating. Just dominating the Cards, and you know that
Shout-
could have been you.
Shout
Hey,
out
you-
to the Nationals for not paying Bryce Harper.
I was about to say, you know
For
who
real.
gets
The real piece
the
of shit.
number
of the
2
year.
piece of shit
He's
runner
the
up.
piece of shit of the year. He's going to be like the year-end episode, especially if the Nats
If they
fucking win.
No way. But if
Bryce
they do,
Harper's at home
he's
going,
crying.
was it me? Was I the
Was
problem?
I the problem?
Yes,
But,
yes, you were.
Skylar, my man, appreciate you coming on. It's been
Hey,
a fun episode.
thanks for having me.
Hey,
For sure.
we would love to have you back and expand further upon
for sure.
our growing friendship.
Yes, thank you. It's been a great time.
Yeah, man, that was great. A lot of great stuff. So, guys, make sure you like, follow, subscribe. We are on all the different platforms, Grip It and Rip It, with Danny Tops and Chris Stockwell. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple. Make sure you go like, follow, whatever platform you like listening to podcasts on. That's where we'll be. So, tune in next time, and we will see you guys. And if you got any comments or criticisms, make sure you leave it on our page.